Hello, everybody. We are here for the Tuesday Talks episode, and today we have an amazing person called Kirsty Waite. She is a business coach and is mentoring, helping to create a thriving business that feels good and aligning your purpose, mindset, and strategy. So we're going to get Kirsty up here and get to hear all about her journey.
Hey, Sasha.
Hey, Kirsty, how are you doing?
I'm really good. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you very much. Oh. I got, okay. Got echo there. Didn't realize the volume was up. Uh, Thank you very much for coming on to Tuesday Talks.
Thank you for having me. Really
Uh,
appreciate it.
Thank you for taking time out. So I've done a short introduction for you already, but you're the best person to expand on it, elaborate it a bit more. So let us know who you are, what you do, and the biggest question that starts this conversation is always, why do you do it?
Great question, right?
Yeah.
So I'm Kirsty. Yeah, so I'm Kirsty Way, and I'm a business coach and mentor. And I specifically help overwhelmed service-based businesses and freelancers create businesses with intention. So create a business that they love, right? And that's why I do what I do, because I'm really passionate about helping business owners create businesses that they love. So I spent quite a lot of time in the world of corporate, feeling very misaligned to what I was doing and never really knowing what I wanted to do and going around in circles and feeling really unfulfilled for a long time. So when I eventually did become a coach, it was just so life-changing moment of like, this is it, this is what I want to do. And I just want to kind of bring that joy and fulfillment to other people's businesses and help them create a business that they love too. So that's why I do what I do.
Wow, that's actually an amazing start, to then realize that you love coaching side of things when you pivoted from the corporate environment and then right, got into coaching and yes, this is what I want to do. What was the feeling that you had that, that said, yes, this is what you want to do? Was that, how can you describe that?
It was, you know, for so long I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I was one of these. I talk a lot about creating a business. So you create your business rather than settling for a default business, right? And I was very much settling for a default career. And yes, I did really well in it. And I kind of floated from promotion to promotion or from job to job. And someone would always go, "Oh, I've got a job that you'd be really good at. Do you want to come along?" And I go, "Yeah, yeah, great." And I kind of, floated on by to it. And I didn't intentionally create it. So I spent a lot of time going, is this really what I want? Like, what is it do I want to do? And so I kind of took a step back around 8 years ago and just went, what is it that I love about my role? Which elements do I really, really love? And that was the people development side of it. So I just went on this big exploration and discovery journey to go, right, what can I do that involves people and involves business? Because I love business. I didn't want to leave the world of business. I knew that. Um, and then I started coaching in my own time as well as working my corporate role. And I think it was the moment that, because obviously as part of your coaching, you have to do so many hours and things like that, that I started coaching outside of my initial environment in small businesses and helping people. And I was getting involved in lots of little businesses. At that moment, the feeling of just like, this is it. Like, I love it. Like, this is what I'm meant to be doing. It felt like it was just like that light bulb switch of like, I can't go back. Like, now I've been exposed to this feeling and exposed to this career opportunity. It was like, this has got to be what I have to do. Like, I have to do this. But it didn't happen overnight, I may say. So I started that journey quite a number of years ago, but it did take me quite a long time to go through that process to a point where I was in a position to actually walk away from that world. But yeah, the feeling is just like phenomenal. Nice.
I love this. I love this, and because what I'm hearing as well, yes, it's a process that you went through. But the light
Mm.
bulb moment, was the feeling of being content and happy at the same time, right? So
Mm.
even though before you were successful already anyway, in the current roles that you were within the corporate world, but doing this was bringing you a certain feeling of joy. Is that the right word? You're getting a joy, feeling of joy there, right?
I think joy, fulfillment, and contentment and intentional, like felt like I was driven with a purpose. And what I was doing, I was in control of that. And I could choose who I worked with, what that looked like, and people that I enjoyed working with, I worked with them more, and the people that I didn't so much, I had that control. So it brought a huge amount of fulfillment to what I was doing.
I love this. I love this. Could you expand a little bit more on obviously then starting the business with intention? What does that look like for a person who's getting into business?
Mm.
And as you said, when you're looking into business proposals, for example, or any business model,
Mm.
you settle for the default because you think that's best to start off with, right? So
Yeah,
what's the best practice there so that we can all be not starting something with better intentions?
great question. And I think let's just take it back to basics of like, what do I mean when I'm saying intention, right? And like that is doing something on purpose with a purpose in mind, you're doing it for a reason, you know why you're doing it, and you do it. And it might not be, and what I mean by that is you don't need to have it all figured out. It's I'm going to go and do this because that leads to that, or I'm going to try this out because that's going to get us closer to that. And it's do so if you turn up to if you do networking twice a week, what you're doing that for? Like, what is the purpose behind it? What's the driving force? You're doing it with intention. You're not just floating through, but taking on any clients because they're the ones that come in your door. You know, you're not just putting anything out there because that's what you've seen online. You're taking a step back and going like, what does this mean to me? What do I really want to achieve? Because unless we have that beacon of light, we're always going to get lost on the journey. Okay. And doing things with intention is going, this is what feels good to me. This is what my values are. This is what my vision is. This is what I want to show up and do every single day in my business, and taking steps that purposely take you towards those things. So it's just thinking through what you're doing and staying curious for a little bit longer. Because when we first start out in business, we do get lost, and that's totally fine because no one knows everything, right? And that's the whole purpose of creating your business. It's a bit of a discovery journey of your own. So it's about not being afraid to explore, to get it wrong, to fall and go again. And it's building your resilience up. But every time you do something, just taking a step back and going, why am I doing this? Like, what is it achieving me doing this? So when I say building a business with intention, it's about being mindful and thoughtful about why you're doing activities and tasks in your business.
That's actually great. And what I heard over there as well was, which actually resonated a lot with myself as well, was it's in terms of why you let networking, for example, why are you posting 4 times a week on Instagram, for example, you're taking that step back, and I love the fact that you touched upon, nobody knows it all when you start in the business. And I always say it is a lonely journey if you want it to be, right? To a certain degree, it is very lonely. You have to do a lot of stuff. You have to start wearing lots of hats, and until you create a system, right? So you have to create a system that works for you. What's the best way to achieve everything? And I love the way you say to know why you're doing it. So set your attentions in terms of knowing everything, right? Okay, this is why I am doing this. So this post, is for these reasons, and that networking event is for that reasons. And I have clients that come in, and this will get me some more clients, and this will get me some whatever that product is. If you're into sales, if that's what you want to be doing, selling your product, and I love this. So in
I love
in
I love there when
yeah,
you
go on.
mentioned about wearing multiple hats when you first start a business, right? Because like when I talk to my clients, it's like, did you not get the magic wand? The magic wand that allows you to do finance, marketing, PR, like the day job, like literally, you have to do it all at some point, don't you? And it's accepting at what point does that, right, I need to outsource now, or I need to create a process for that. I need to automate that. And that again brings into intention of like, you're mindful that you doing everything at the moment, but that's not how it's always going to be. And it's having plans and processes to move away from that to create a more scalable, manageable business.
And exactly, and I love this. It's just reminded me of because I love blueprints, right? Because I go by live life by design. So because that's my one of my mottos, you know. So you have a blueprint of for your life, for example, right? So you have a blueprint of what you wanted to do, and on that blueprint, a lot of stuff is that you're going to be doing a lot of your stuff yourself, because it's your blueprint. But there will be others who will help you in certain places, and certain places will become automation is something that you just do by default. You know, you
Mhm.
just know it will happen, and that's where you in business as well. So you're going to create that formula for yourself. So there will be lots of trials and errors. You know, the places that we are working for now, you know, if you have a day job and things like that, they've created a formula, or if they haven't, they've paid for someone to create a formula for them,
Mhm.
a business formula that is now working, and we've fitted in that formula, and now the business is thriving, right? And this is
Mhm.
where now your attentions come in, and you are there to create that business formula that will work for you,
Mhm.
and then go forward with automation. I love automation. A lot of my stuffs are
Mhm.
automated. So automation gets you hands free for do a lot more stuff in your life, and then expand onto what you want to do, right?
Yeah, and I think what's really important is that this formula or blueprint that we're talking about is specific and personal to every single person's business. Because what I see time and time again, and I think if people do it for ease, is that they buy somebody else's blueprint. So they buy into the dream that this blueprint's going to fix their business, that all they have to do is follow these steps, A, B, C, and D, and they'll have the success that the person selling it to you has. And that is just so misleading, because the same person can do the same steps and have completely different results because they're not aligned to that person, those steps. It's not tailored to their business. So even though, yes, it would be marvelous to pull something out of a magic box or a nice present wrapped up and us know the success to, 6, 7 figure business in 6 months. In reality, the biggest asset in your business is taking the time to create your own formula that works for you and that blueprint that works for you, because that's how you thrive. That's how your business thrives. So you need to take that step back. And you're right, to get to that point, it's lots of trials and tribulations. There's lots of things that you're going to try and fail at, but just build up that resilience and keep going and adjust and recalibrate as you go. And I think first starting out in business, the whole recalibration piece is huge, because you start out with this plan, or you might be following someone else's plan, and you think, this is it, that's what I'm doing, and those are your steps. But 3 months into that, you think this doesn't feel right, and that's what you need to listen to, and that's when you need to recalibrate of, is this the right path? Is this the right step for my business? Is this the right step for me? And recalibrate as you go. And that's when you kind of get to a point of listening to your intuition, of like letting that guide you, of, does this feel good? Is this for me? Is this what I want? Rather than, this feels really icky and it doesn't work with me, but someone over there's earned 6 figures from this, so I'm just going to force the formula onto my business, and that's never going to work.
It's actually great to hear what you just you expanded onto that here. And what I'm taking from it as well is, if you are in the business for wrong reasons, it's never going to work. Your business may be there, but it will not take off as what you're hoping it for to do, right? So because a lot of people get into the business for wrong reasons. From in my eyes, I'm looking at I'm going to start a business and start making 6 figures. Yeah, if you're starting a business, you're definitely going to get some sort of, reward for it, because that's the return on your investment, right? And time. So you're going to get some sort of return anyway. But if you're just getting into the business by saying, I'm going to start getting 6 figures, but you don't know how you're going to make that 6 figures and why your business is going to make that 6 figures, I don't think it will happen that quick, right? It will be a lot longer trials and tribulations then, I think.
I think I have a couple of train of thoughts on this. And one of them is, like, I'm in the business of helping people create business where they feel fulfilled. And financial fulfillment is absolutely part of that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there genuinely isn't. Like, I want to build a business that's hugely financially successful, but I also want it to feel good, and I want it to be balanced with my family, and I want to be able to, step in and out of that business. And that's all good. But if you're just chasing the 6 figures without anything else, that'll feel good short term, but when you don't want to get up out of bed anymore to do it, there's no anchor getting you up because you actually going to become resentful of your business. Yes, you'll have the money, but that'll only last so long if there's no fulfillment and no joy, and you're working all the hours God sends on a business that brings you absolutely no joy and fulfillment. That's only going to last a certain amount of time, isn't it? So going back to what I want to help people create, that's a business where they can have a success in all aspects, whether that's their family life, whether that's the balance of how they operate, or whether that's the number of hours, or how fulfilled and joyful they feel. They want to add something. All my clients want to do be heart-led clients. They want to bring something else to the world. And yeah, these 6, 7 figure business owners, but they equally want to do something good with that. They're not just chasing the money. And I think
And
that's really key.
that and exactly that what I was touching upon, and thank you for expanding onto that. You know, it's otherwise it's looked how I see it is it's just a short-term goal, and
Mm-hmm.
that short-term goal, usually what I've come across, it burns you out at one point. Or what do you do when you start achieving that short-term goal? What's next, right? So you've achieved it.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're just in a cycle of keeping that short-term goal, holding on to that short-term goal, because now you want to make sure that you don't let go, and then it just becomes a job which you didn't want it to do at the beginning, because you started a business, you wanted to be an entrepreneur, and and the reason people, well, I mean, for me, you want to become an entrepreneur. How I see it is to have that ease of time, so you can spend time with your family, spend time doing what you love, and the business at one point reaches to a place where it sustains itself, it's running on automation, and you have a team of people who are doing the things that you need to be doing, and you just pop in and out if you need to, and support everybody. So that's where you need to, lead the business at the end. It should be an ultimate goal. I mean, I look at the inspirations that I have, Richard Branson, for example, and Elon Musk.
Yeah.
They did the grind at the beginning, so
Yeah.
lots of hats and all that stuff, but now they have teams of people who just do the stuff they probably were doing at the beginning of the time. Now they just come in and talk about it, right? And that's
Yeah.
what we see now, right? They just talk about the stuff, and we see, oh wow, so successful, like we want to be there, but we're not
But
seeing what's happening in the back, right?
yeah, and they all do, those two individuals you talk about, particularly create businesses around something they're passionate about. They get involved in areas what they enjoy. They're not trying to do something that they don't get any joy and fulfillment from.
Yes, exactly. And I love this that you also touching upon that, starting a business that you enjoy and you love, and this is what I was saying. So not just running for a short-term goal, which is I just want to get 6 figures, right? You
Yeah.
might get 6 figures if you're into a business that is you love and enjoy, right? Because you're going to make sure it's successful, and yeah, you will get it. So it's a magical number that gets thrown out everywhere nowadays. All over social media. Oh, you're an entrepreneur. You need to be doing this and this to get 6 figure, and you're like, really? It's just out there, and I think a lot of people are misguided just because of that, just social media, which is out there. And it's good to have people like yourselves, to anchor them into what they should be actually looking into doing that. So what does that look like for an individual that signs up with you? What kind of a journey they go on?
Well, can I just say also, just take a step back, there's nothing wrong with wanting to earn 6 figures, but it's what sits behind that, and it's what the purpose that's driving that for sure. So yeah, so when people come in to work with me, I work with people one-to-one and in group. And regardless of what capacity or container they work with me in, it's all around. I've got 3 core pillars in my business, and that's purpose, mindset, and strategy. And I help people gain clarity and help them move forward to create those big picture visions and goals based on those 3 pillars. So the purpose element is getting really under the skin of what they're doing, like why they're doing it, what's the driver, what brings them energy. And this goes back to the beginning of our conversation, Zishan, of like, what's the purpose of it? Like, getting that really clearly articulated for themselves. And then understanding from a mindset perspective, what are their limiting beliefs? What stops them achieving that already, and how can we create that mindset for success and help them get towards closer to those goals. And then the strategy piece is obviously those two things are great, but without any kind of action, nothing happens. And I think a lot of time people can get stuck in that place of learning and development and never actually taking the step out, because that's the scary bit, isn't it? Actually doing this stuff in the real world. So the strategy bit is the action, and it's helping them create and breaking down really simple actions to create that and bring that into their reality, that created vision that we've talked about. So yeah. So
I love this. I love this, and you're right. You know, a lot of people get into this learning and development side of things, and then just get stuck, and they're always just learning and development. And obviously, it's nothing wrong in there. You are obviously
no,
bettering yourself and
absolutely not.
self-development.
Yeah.
And I was just having this conversation with somebody else 2 days ago, that it's the sea of learning and development. Once you're in there, you know, you're just swimming and you're swimming and you're swimming. You need to then come back to the shore, and then see, right, can I now practice what I've just done? Or and a lot of people don't do that, and you nailed it there. You know, it's a scary part, right? And it could be, there's lots of words out there for these things. You know, people are scared for failure, self-sabotage, and all. You know, there's lots of things. But it is that you have to take the action. Nothing is going to come into fruition if you're not taking those actions. Okay, I've learned this. I'm going to implement it, and and see what happens, right? And then you can direct yourself again to learning and development from what you've just implemented. You'll know, right? I've done this. Oh, but I'm like challenged here now. If I'm challenged here, right? What do I need to learn to overcome this challenge? And then you're pivoting yourself to that learning, other than just learning, and you're learning something, but it's never been used, right? It's more of a shelf development rather than personal development, right?
Yeah. And I think what strategy does as well is it helps us get out the weeds of the business, because especially when we're talking about people first starting a business, and you naturally fall into that trap of just doing. And before you know it, you're thick into the weeds and you don't ever see what's going on in the big picture, and you don't really see where you're guiding your business. So I think when you start working on that strategy piece, it forces you to get out of those weeds and have a look at that overall picture of like, where am I taking my business here? Like, what direction are we going in? So I think working on that strategy piece really enforces that element.
Awesome. That's good to hear that, there's a right direction that a lot of people can take once they join you. And as you said, you get bogged down in the weed, and you're not seeing anything apart from that, right? And how I usually say it is tunnel vision. So when you start a business, you're tunnel visioned into a goal that was in your mind, right, at that moment when you started the business, and then a lot of stuff come in front of you, and you tunnel vision to, oh, let's just get rid of all this so that I can see more clearly. But you forget that all this around you is the bigger picture, which is there, and you don't need to be just tunnel vision, because the thing I look at is, there is support for you out there, right? Because a lot of people tend to forget that I have to do everything now. There's no support, and nobody would understand what I'm trying to do as well. And I suppose you also help in ironing those parts of the business as well.
Yeah, and I think that is like a huge mindset shift for people starting in business, right? Of being vulnerable enough to open up and ask for support, and realize that there's so many freelancers, small businesses out there that are in the same boat. And I think since COVID, there's been the landscape of the working world has changed, and it's so easy now to get additional support and eyes on your business. And it's affordable, and it's never been so easy to get that support, right? So absolutely, that helping them understand what that support looks like and in what container that needs to be in, and helping them with the mindset of accepting that and what does that look like, and helping them just think that through.
Would you be able to expand a little bit more on the mindset side of things? Me being very interested on the mindset, and being, myself being a mindset and business coach, I love to hear what other people think about this the mindset side of things of the business. So when you become an entrepreneur, your mindset, for how I take it every time, is still an employee mindset, right? Because that's what you've been used to, that's your world. And then you have to change that mindset to become an entrepreneur. So what's your take on that? Obviously, you've mentioned it a couple of times here as well. So how could you expand onto how you're helping to shift that mind?
The mindset is just so huge in your journey for business. And if you're not incorporating some element of mindset development work, it's that's going to be holding you back in some capacity. I can guarantee you that. So, like you say, when you first start your business, you come in it virtually with a scarcity mindset because you're stepping out into the world of the unknown, and you're coming in it with a very different mindset. So you've got a corporate mindset where it's very structured. You know the rules. You know how much you're going to get paid. You know how to play the game. Stepping out into the unknown where there's no rules, you feel like there's no support, and transitioning into that and ensuring that you can sustain that mindset shift and help the challenges that come up and work through them, because at each level of growth there's different challenges and there's different mindset challenges and there's different blocks and different limiting beliefs. And so working on your mindset is a constant when you have your own business. And as part of my group program, we've got a mindset expert in there that works with the people in the program specifically on their growth and development mindset to ensure that they're not getting stuck, because there's so many limiting beliefs, unconscious biases that we've got and that we've brought with us from our background, wherever we've come from, that could be stopping us. We might not even know about it. So for me, mindset is such a huge thing when creating a business. And you touched on slightly at the beginning of that question about community and support and opening yourself up to the community. And I think there's one thing that I've found is that there are hundreds of communities out there that want to help, right? Like-minded people going through the same thing. And if you haven't found one where you feel really supported, go and find another one, because there are hundreds out there. And I always encourage, you need support from peers, you need support from mentors, coaches, experts in their areas. There's so many people and there's so much information out there that if you do feel stuck, there's support. Just go and look for it.
And I love this, actually, the support part there. Support is out there. You just need to know where it is. And again, I think it falls back to what we were touching upon, right? Taking the action. If you're taking action, you will come across others who are taking the similar actions, right? It's been like, if I start driving and I'm on the road, I will come across other people who are driving as well on the same road, right? We're on the same similar journeys. And if I now stop at a service station, I might see the same person that overtook me 2 hours ago at the same service station. I'm like, oh, right, hey, if I want to now strike up a conversation, I can, right? Maybe tell him that your light's not working, something like that, right? So, but then again, that's
like, there's memberships, there's masterminds, there's groups, like there's so much out there. And if you work better in a small group, go and join a small group mastermind. If you want to just sit on the edge of something and not get involved, go into a membership, or, just go and find somewhere that you feel you belong and there's people that you enjoy being around.
Yes, exactly. 100%. I agree with that. 100%. So in your programs, do you have a program? I just assume that the program, so you do one-to-one coaching and group coachings as well.
Yeah, I've got a group coaching program where we go through 12 modules around the pillars of my business. And that's a talk program where you get mindset support and obviously support for myself. And that's a 6-month program. But I also have a mastermind where I take a very small group of high achieving female business owners and create that really safe space for people to come and learn from each other. And it's a mindset in the very traditional sense of the term, where we come and learn from everybody in the group. Like, everybody brings something with them, and that's a really cool place.
How long is that mastermind for as well?
6 months. It's a 6-month mastermind, but then they get the option of staying in the alumni mastermind after that. Okay. So whoever comes through that group can then go into the bigger pool and maintain that, I suppose, support from peers.
Oh, I see. Okay, so it's a continuous support after that. Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah.
which is actually amazing because I don't come across a lot of programs out there who give you a continuous support after, right? Because once you
Mhm.
finish, you're out there in the world and you're doing it. But then that's when sometimes you actually need that support because now you're implementing what you've just learned. And, you know, and
Mhm.
what we've learned is sometimes we actually get to see what we maybe didn't pay attention to, right? We're like, oh, should have paid attention. What did Kirsty say here? I'm not sure now.
Yeah.
Let me find the recording.
Yeah. And when I created that mastermind, I created it on the basis of something that I really what I was looking for when I started. And I was part of different groups and masterminds and programs, and they were all amazing and I learned so much. But I just wanted that really, really close knit group that where I could pick the phone up and go to somebody who was equally at the same level as me, was equally driven and ambitious, and everyone was equal in the group and go, have you done this? What happened? Like, what happened when you did that? This really messed up for me. What do I need to do? And you're not going to do that in a big group because you need security and safety and trust within the group. And you need to know that other people in the group aren't going to just take those ideas and use them in their business. So it takes a lot to cultivate that kind of small group. So I was really looking for that kind of group. And I was like, I'm just going to create one. And
Yeah,
I'm just like, it's
I love
amazing.
this. I love this. So we can add that onto it by saying, look for your community, look
Mm,
for that mentorship. Or if you can't find one, create one, right?
just
So you
make
go
one.
out there and create. Yeah, exactly. So create one, and then the like-minded people might just you can
Yeah.
attract them, and then they'll join with you, right?
Yeah.
I love this. It's great. No, Kirsty, thank you very much for your time today, and it has been an amazing journey that you've shared and lots of golden nuggets there. So we should be wrapping this up shortly as well. What would you like to say to people who are listening to this or watching as well as a wrap up?
I would say just being intentional about how you're creating your business and take a step back every now and again and just make sure that you're on the right track. And don't be afraid to reach out for support.
That is great. Thank you very much for that. So, how can people reach out to you? What platforms are you on? I know we are currently on Instagram, so they can reach out to you directly here. What other platforms they can find you?
LinkedIn. So Instagram and LinkedIn are the two main platforms. I use LinkedIn. I'm probably more active daily on LinkedIn, but obviously, I'm active on Instagram as well. So by all means, come and check me out on either of those places and reach out.
Amazing. Okay, everybody, if you've been watching this from the beginning or you've been listening to this episode from beginning, and you've had a sparking, a spark in your mind or a aha moment, it's our responsibility now to share this episode with somebody else. So we shouldn't keep that inspiration, that spark within us. We should share it with everybody else because we don't know who has just woken up or gone to bed thinking of a better day, right? So, and if you had that spark might just help them to create what they want to create. It might be to create that program or mentorship or a community themselves, right? So they can be there or connect with, they might want to just connect with Kirsty and, start their journey, business with intention. So who knows? Thank you very much, Kirsty, for your time and sharing the amazing journey. And everybody else, thank you very much as well. We will see you next Tuesday again with another amazing person. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.